probably think you're in charge of your life, your feelings, and the choices you make. But what if that control is fake? Just something your mind made up to help you feel safe. The famous thinker Carl Jung said that deep down, hidden inside you, there's a part of yourself you've been running from for years. And the longer you ignore it, the more it secretly decides how you live, how you feel, and even who you become. Facing this hidden side can change your life forever. But if you keep avoiding it, you'll keep wearing a mask, pretending, performing, and never actually experiencing who you really are. And the scary part? If you never take off that mask, you might live your whole life without truly knowing yourself. You've been pretending for a long time, smiling when you feel broken inside, agreeing when deep down you want to scream no. You work hard, win praise, check all the boxes, but something doesn't feel right. You still feel empty, like something's missing, like you're living someone else's life. There's a pattern. You back down around certain people. You get angry, then feel awful. You want close connections, but when people get too close, you pull away. It's confusing. You've pointed fingers. At the world, bad luck, other people. But at night, when it's just you and your thoughts, a scary question keeps coming up. What's wrong with me? You try to push it away, but it stays. What if the answer isn't that you're broken, but that you've hidden a part of yourself for so long, you've forgotten it's even there? Maybe it's that lost piece of yourself, afraid, rejected, hurt, that's been crying out all along. The parts of you that you've buried aren't bad. They're simply the ones you were told not to show. Your anger, jealousy, fear, wildness, sensitivity. You hid them because you thought it was the only way to be loved and accepted. But they didn't disappear. They hid in the dark corners of your mind, becoming louder in silence. This hidden pile of feelings is called the shadow. It's where your real emotions go when they're not welcome. Over time, they shape how you see the world. You get triggered by people you don't understand. You repeat painful patterns. You feel blocked by something you can't explain. But this shadow isn't here to hurt you. It's begging you to notice it. It shows up in your self-doubt, anxiety, and guilt, not as punishment, but as messages. What if the passions you admire in others are actually trapped inside you? What if the bold, honest, and free version of you isn't gone, just buried under years of pretending? Are you brave enough to face the parts of you that others couldn't handle? What if the real battle isn't with the world, but with the person inside you who you've been ignoring? Every time something sets you off, it's showing you a deeper truth. That mean voice in your head, that jealousy you try to deny, that shame you hide. They're all holding a story you haven't heard yet. You've tried so hard to be good, to make people like you. But what if that's what's keeping you stuck? What if your judgment of others is the cost of not healing what hurts in you? Maybe the pain isn't the enemy. Maybe it's a clue. And when you stop running from it, you might discover the version of you that was never really lost, just waiting to be seen. Deep inside you, there's a room you've kept locked. It holds old pain, hidden thoughts, and the wild, messy feelings no one ever truly welcomed. But those parts aren't here to hurt you. They're waiting for you to come back, to remember who you really are before the world told you to play safe. There's a guide in that shadow. Not a monster, not a weakness, but your truest strength. A quiet voice that says it's okay to drop the mask. Becoming whole isn't about being flawless. It's about being real, but it comes at a cost. You must let go of the fake version of you. Are you ready to give that up? Because the thing you fear most might be the very thing that can finally set you free. And next, we'll move even closer to that place of power. The part of you that you shut out, it never stopped knowing your name. Why do you feel so worn out even when you're doing so much? Why does life look full on the outside, but feel so empty inside? You've achieved things, maybe even things others admire, but still wonder, why doesn't this feel like me? Deep down, you carry a quiet weight. You change who you are depending on who you're with. You keep quiet to avoid arguments. You go along with things that don't sit right with you. They seem small, but they pile up, and a part of you slowly disappears. You wake up tired, not tired from your body working hard, but from your spirit feeling drained. You know inside what it's costing you to keep chasing approval from others instead of living in your truth. But it's scary. If you stop pretending, who will still be there? Who will turn away? And maybe the scariest question, who are you without the version of yourself everyone expects and applauds? Psychologist Carl Jung talked about something powerful that most people don't even know they've lost. The self. Not the fake self you put on for others. That's the persona. A mask we wear to fit in, get attention, be accepted. As kids, we learned what got praise. Be helpful, be sweet, be quiet, be successful. So we hid the messy parts of us, the anger, the wild ideas, the gut feelings. We thought we had to do that to stay safe and loved. Over time, the mask stayed on so long it began to feel like our actual face. But it's not. Somewhere underneath, the real you is still there. Quiet, but waiting. Waiting through years of working too hard. Through relationships that feel fake. Through the moments when you can't sleep because something deep inside won't stop asking, is this all there is? Your inner self never left. It's just been hushed, waiting for a moment when you're finally ready to listen. What if the life you spend every day trying to maintain isn't really yours? What if your success is actually a beautiful prison built out of shoulds, not wants? What if people love you not for who you truly are, but for the role they see you playing? And because you've hidden your real thoughts, your honest feelings, your actual voice, they never had the chance to love the real you. Maybe you haven't even given that chance to yourself. That idea is terrifying, that no one, including you, knows the real person inside. So if you took off the mask, what would happen? Would anyone stay? Would you? And more importantly, would you even recognize the person beneath? Starting to live from your real self doesn't mean you suddenly figure it all out. It means you start asking bigger, scarier questions. You stop chasing a perfect version of who you should be. You start slowly returning to what has always whispered inside you. The values that feel right, the boundaries that protect your peace, the truths that make your chest feel warm when you speak them. It's not about acting. It's about being. Not about being sure, but being centered. So when your voice shakes as you finally say what you mean, don't run from it. That's your truth waking up. That's your core starting to stand again. And this journey, it's just beginning. Because the feelings you were told to hide, your fear, your fire, your gut instincts, they aren't flaws. They're pointing the way home. Let's follow them. Have you ever had someone say something simple, but it felt like a punch to the chest? You laughed it off, but later you couldn't stop thinking about it. Maybe it was just a text they didn't reply to, or a silence that felt too heavy. You told yourself not to care, but deep down, you did. You felt embarrassed for feeling hurt, then angry at yourself for caring so much. So you pushed the feeling away, ignored it, or maybe snapped at someone else without meaning to. But what if your emotion isn't a mistake? What if it's a signal, like an alarm going off inside you? The pain that seems like a weakness might actually be trying to show you something important. You're not broken. You're being called to pay attention. The famous thinker Carl Jung said emotions aren't bad. They're energy, trying to speak for the parts of you that never had a voice. That sadness that just won't leave. That anger that shows up out of nowhere. It's not random. It's your inner world crying out. But the world teaches us to stay quiet. Don't be too emotional, too sensitive, too much. So you stuffed it down, smiled when it hurt, acted like everything was fine. That pressure builds up and leaks out in ways you can't control. Sudden anger, stress you can't shake, not caring about anything. It's not weakness. It's your feelings looking for a way to be seen. Anger might mean someone crossed a line. Anxiety could be hidden fear. Sadness might be grief you haven't named. When you stop pushing the feelings away and start asking, "What are you trying to tell me?" things start to make sense. Jung called it active imagination, treating each strong emotion like a dream character with a message. The meltdown you had? It wasn't crazy. It was your soul knocking, saying, "Please, listen." The big question, can you sit with your feelings, even when they hurt? Not running, not judging, just feeling. Most people can't. They hide in distractions, argue with others, fake a smile. But every time you run from a feeling, you abandon a part of who you are. That anger you hate, it could be your deepest strength. That pain you avoid, it might lead to your freedom. What if your emotions are not broken pieces, but lost parts of you, waiting to come home? The hard question hits now. Will you keep reacting the way you were trained, or will you finally listen to your heart and all it's been screaming in silence? Deep inside is a calm place, a safe spot, a pause between pain and panic. It's the moment you don't yell, and you don't shut down, you just notice. And in that one breath, everything starts to change. Anger turns into understanding. Sadness starts to soften. Fear shows you something real. You stop seeing your emotions as storms and start following them like a compass in the dark. You become like the old alchemists who turned heavy metal into gold. You've begun to transform pain into power. But this isn't a finish line. It's the doorway to something bigger. If emotions carry messages, then what part of yourself have you been ignoring all this time? And what if the part of you you've pushed away is the one holding your greatest strength? The journey continues. A journey into the part of you that doesn't react just to be dramatic, but reacts because it had to survive. An old, powerful protector, often misunderstood. The one we now meet next, the inner defender. Stop hiding who you really are just to fit into someone else's life. When you keep your true self locked away, you lose your power. The real strength lives in the parts of you that you've been scared to show. So think about this seriously. What could your life become if you stopped running from the pieces of yourself you don't fully get yet? What if the things you're ashamed of are actually the key to everything you've ever wanted? Real love, real purpose, real peace. If reading this made your heart beat a little faster or gave you a strange feeling in your gut, don't ignore it. That's your inner voice trying to lead you home. Listen to it. Subscribe now, leave a comment, and take the first step toward being fully, fearlessly you.